Alright, welcome back to another Django-Oscar video. Weight-based shipping. So let's calculate the shipping charge based on the weight of our products. I think that's a usual case, a common case and useful case. That's what I meant. Now, let's add this code so we can have access to the shipping tab on our dashboard. Let's add it to settings.py. So I'm gonna open the text editor and head to my site, settings.py, and scroll down. And by the end of the file, I'm just going to paste it in there. Now, going to head to the dashboard. I actually have the link in there. And now we have the new shipping tab. We can go there, and from there we can create a new shipping charge. Can give it a name. I actually have some description and name in here. So I didn't think a lot about this. It's just some random description. And it's interesting. You can use links in the description. In this case, I just created a link to the same page of the post. Anyway, continuing. So the default weight, it's going to be the default weight of a product. In case you don't define the weight of a product, it will assume this weight. We're talking about books. I'm thinking let's make it 0.2 kilograms. So this corresponds to 200 grams. And then we can define to which countries this applies to. I'm in Portugal, but we can select more than one country, United Kingdom, whatever. I'm gonna save it like that. And now we have this page. So we can go back to shipping UPS method, and it sends you to this page where we need to define the weight bands. So at first, it's going to consider the lower limit, let's say, as 0, and whatever upper limit you define, it's going to be from 0 to this upper limit. So let's say that it's going to be from 0 to 0.2 kilos, so 200 grams. And we are going to charge €1 for any product or products that will have this weight. So from 0 to 200 grams, the shipping charge will be €1. Okay. Now the next weight band that you define, it's going to take the previous one upper limit as its own lower limit. Okay, so it's going to be from 0.2, imagine, to 0.4. Doesn't really matter. I'm just making up values. Add a new weight band. Again, it's always the same thing by now. From 0.4 to 0.6, let's charge €3. Next one is going to be from 0.6 from 0.8. Let's make it €4. Now, if you want to define all the weight bands possible, you could. If you don't, I believe that it will make an estimation based on the values that you already have. So at this point, we have something quite linear. So it would assume that an order weighing from 800 grams to 1 kilo, it would assume it as €5 charge. I believe we can test that later. Let me go back to the post so I can follow from here. Okay, creating the weight attribute. When we define the product type bulk, we were not yet thinking about shipping charges, and we didn't define a weight attribute. So let's do that now. Catalog, product types, bulks, product attributes. And let's define a new product attribute with name weight, code weight, type float, and let's make it a required field. Okay, now keep in mind something that the products that we have previously created, they don't have a weight. So you either define it now. So I'm going to do that for the meditations book as say 250 grams, and the other I'm going to leave it open so we can test if it's really going to assume the default weight. So 200. We'll see. Let's continue now. We have our weight bands defined for the UPS method. Now we need to associate this with our available shipping methods. We have this method that we can use. So this is defined in the source code. We simply are going to make our adjustments, let's say, in our forked app. And in the end, when we run the project, this is the part of the code that will be run. Okay, gonna move this to my other window and open my shipping repository. Gonna remove this line. We are not gonna use it anymore. And I will just copy at least this line. So I don't have to write all of that thing. We are defining this get available shipping method. It has some parameters, baskets. We could use this one, shipping address. Okay, that's good. And one first thing that we can do is to see if we have a shipping address or not. If we have a shipping address, it means that we are in the checkout. Let me show you this. Something happened. Let me comment this for now. So if we have a shipping address, like I was telling you, it means that we are in the second page of the checkout. If we don't, it means that we are in the basket. Because if you notice, the shipping charge is also displayed in the basket. Now, there's one difference in here that it's going to be important specifically for this case where we have defined previously the address. In here, we can only estimate the charge because we don't have the address yet, okay? So it will always be not 100% accurate at this point, but you can still make an estimation. Now, let's continue. And the sum that we are on the checkout page, then we can get something like weight based set from weight based dot objects dot filter. Let's get it for the country in the address. So we can get the countries by the shipping address, country, code. We need to import this. So from oscar.apps.shipping methods import weight based good. And if it exists, you can make it like this or simply like that. we will return it in list format, weight base set, just like that. If we don't have the address, there are multiple options. Like I was telling you before, you can simply return one of these methods. Oh, in here I missed an equal. We can make it like that. So we could make methods to be a list containing standard. Okay. And in here, we can already return methods. Just that. So two options or two cases. There's shipping address and you are in the checkout. There's no shipping address and you're just in the basket. In here you can also confirm if for some reason there's no weight-based site, we can force it just in case to be the standard method. Now at this point we are calculating the shipping charges based on the weight of the order, and nothing is going to show up in the store because we only have one shipping method. So if you ship to this address, it's going to skip to step 3 again, but it will calculate the shipping charge based on the total weight of the order. Let's confirm that. We had two meditations books, which are, let's check that at the dashboard, products, meditations, attributes, 250 grams, which corresponds to 500 grams, €3. So, as expected, the two books are €30 and the shipping charge €3. Let's go back to the store. We don't need to complete the order. Now, in here, you can still force the weight base bands or the weight based shipping just by doing the same. So instead of having this method standard, I'm going to copy this in here, but there's a catch. We don't have the shipping address, okay? So you would need to force this to some country. For Portugal, I know the code is PT. You could even get the location of the current location of the client. This will never be 100% accurate. Anyway, let's try that. Now the card will show the shipping charge based on the weight, okay? Let's make another one to see if it updates. So 750 grams would be €4 as expected. Okay. That's part of it. Now, there's one thing that we can do, one other thing that we can do. Let's create another shipping method. So we have one for UPS. Let's make this for FedEx. FedEx doesn't really matter. The default weight, I think we made it 0.2 earlier. And let's put the same country, save. Again, the same procedure. Let's define the upper limit from 0 to 0.2. I don't even remember the other prices that well. Let's just make something up. Again, I'm just doubling the prices. Now I remember. 0.6, 6, add weight band. That's good enough. Now, what should happen in the front end is that when we ship for Portugal, we have two options. So it will take us to the second step of checkout again. There you go, as expected. So we have three books. It will allow us to decide which shipping method we prefer. There's many things that we can think about shipping. Let's try to cover part of them. Let's say that I'm shipping to, instead of Portugal, it's going to be London. London in the UK, United Kingdom. Now, this forces you to use a correct zip code. So I really need to get one from Google. Let's use this one. It should work. Continue. And again, if you remember, we only have one shipping method for the UK. So it's skipping the shipping method again. All right. I'm gonna go back. Let's change. I'm gonna close this one already. Going to FedEx and edit shipping method. We'll also add the UK, United Kingdom, to this one. So now both of the shipping methods have Portugal and UK. And when I ship now to London, it will let me choose again. One last thing to keep in mind. So what if a client tries to pick an address to which we haven't defined an option? We need to be aware of that. So let's imagine that the client wants to order to be Spain, Madrid. I need some Madrid zip code. Let's just use 28,000 and say that it's for Spain. So what happens in this case, right? It's still letting us go to the payment, and yeah, it's still letting us do the thing. But how? We need to check this. Okay, 50 euros. Just let's go back. 45 total. So what's going on in here is, if there's not a weight-based set for that specific country, it's going to apply the standard method. Okay? Now, this is something that you need to think of as the owner of a store and see what makes sense for you specifically. For now, I'm gonna leave it at this point. I hope it was a useful video. It's a bit longer than the others, but I think it's quite a useful part of Django-Oscar. Once you have the weight bands well defined, you can let things happen more naturally. Okay, thank you for all the support. I hope it's going well for you. And yeah, thank you and bye.